Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. As always, I am Matt from Cleveland Sex Therapy. I'm a licensed clinical therapist and certified sex therapist. It's been some time since I've done a video geared strictly towards tips for creating more intimacy in your relationship. So I thought I would spend some time talking to all of you about my favorite tips, games, activities, and exercises that you can start incorporating today that's going to help long term when it comes to creating sustainable intimacy. So with that being said, let's dive right on in. 1, communication is key. I don't know a single sex therapist or, quite frankly, relationship therapist out there that doesn't talk about the importance of communication, especially when it comes to intimacy. Remember, the world we live in is wildly sex negative, and it teaches us not to talk about sex, but instead internalize it and really just try to navigate this world all by ourselves. Communicating what you want allows for a truer, authentic experience for yourself and also for your partner. We don't want there to be any guessing during these experiences. We want to know what turns our partners on and off. Listen, I am all for pleasure and providing pleasure to my partner, but if it's at the expense of my enjoyment, I want to take a look at that. Next up, responsive arousal. Responsive arousal is a kind of arousal that does not get talked about a lot in the space of intimacy. Not everyone has this spontaneous arousal that shows up out of nowhere. In fact, most cisgendered women tend to have responsive arousal. And what this is it's really focusing on how our body is responding to our environment. Think about our turn-ons and our turn-offs. We are just neutral, going throughout our day, things turning us on and turning us off. So we want to understand these breaks to our arousal and these accelerators to our arousal so that we can sit and tell our partners. Trust me, figuring that out is going to lead to such a fulfilling experience for everyone involved. This next one is one of my favorites. Create anticipation. One of the main reasons why sex was so fun in the beginning is because we were anticipating it, right? We were really sitting back and thinking about what is this experience going to be like. So let's bring that back. Whether it is sexting, games, or dirty talk, find a way to bring back anticipation. My favorite is dirty texting because you can start it and stop it whenever you like, and it will still impact and help you get in tune with what you're feeling and your arousal states. 4, personal reflection. Now, this one is not as sexy as the others, but we really want to sit and reflect on our sexuality. Am I doing this? Am I engaging in intimacy for myself, or am I doing it for other people? Why am I a sexual person? What do I enjoy about being a sexual person? Figuring all of this out allows you then to work through any blocks that you may have when it comes to intimacy. Start with this journal prompt. How did I learn to be a sexual person? And what can I do today to start making sex more for me and less about my partners? Next up, scheduling and spontaneity. I am so bored and tired of people saying that they want sex to be spontaneous. One of the main reasons why this is because it's all we know. It's basically all we learn and all we see in the media today. So let's try to push ourselves out of the box a little bit and be open to these new ways of sparking intimacy again. Scheduling is a great way to put something off into the future and create that anticipation to engage with it. When that time comes, you can choose to engage with it or not, but the best part about this is you can tie spontaneity into it. Make a rule that one person each time brings something new or spontaneous to the experience. See, you can still be spontaneous during scheduled sex. I promise you, it's going to be worth it. Next up, Please, for the love of God, stay away from toxic media. There is so much sex negativity in this world. No wonder sex therapy exists. If you think you need to prescribe to a certain way of how to have sex or how to create relationships based on what you see in the media, then we need to take a step back and look inward. At the end of the day, relationships and sex are for you, not the other person. So we want to search for people who see us, know us, understand us, and want to make a relationship work. Next up, introduce a little kinky sex. Now remember, kinky sex is not always whips and chains and tying people up and all this pain. No, kinky sex is just anything that's not vanilla sex. And vanilla sex is typically just standard penetration followed by an orgasm. And don't get me wrong, vanilla sex is beautiful, right? I love vanilla sex. I'm a huge promoter of vanilla sex. But sometimes vanilla sex can get stale. Think about it like this. Engaging in new forms of intimacy leads to vulnerability. Vulnerability then leads us to being more open and willing to have these new experiences. And while we're open, we're creating a more intimate and emotional connection with the people that we are having sex with. So start slow. You hear me say this all the time. Just use a blindfold. Losing your eyesight is a great way to increase that vulnerability. So try it out next time. Next up, hygiene is so important. This does not get talked about enough. But when we feel in control of our bodies, smells, tastes, it allows us to feel way more relaxed. Arousal typically needs two sensations to occur: the feeling of safety and the feeling of relaxation. So if you need to go and take a shower or brush your teeth before an intimate experience, go and do it. You will feel so much better. Number 9 on this list of 10 ways of creating more mind-blowing intimacy games. So whether or not you're downloading an app, Spicer is a really good one to download, or you are buying card games or engaging in fun, sexy conversations, intimacy games are a great way of mixing things up and again, putting us in that space of feeling a little bit more vulnerable. I tell my clients to play Naked Twister or Naked Jenga, where once you pull a piece, you read a question, and maybe it tells you to answer something super vulnerable, maybe it tells you to tell an experience, or maybe it just has you remove an article of clothing. Don't be afraid of games, because they are your friends. And last but not least, one of the best ways of having mind-blowing sex is just engaging in emotional intimacy and quality time. I love a random hookup, and anyone engaging in that behavior, you have my full support. But another great way of increasing long-term intimacy and vulnerability is by having that emotional intimacy built. So whether this is through quality time or appreciation exercises, the goal of it is vulnerability and connection, because once again, when we feel that safety, it opens us up to having way more experiences. That's all I got. Please comment down below and let me know what your favorite tip was, or what tip did I miss? What is something that you like to do that I may not have put in this list? Until next time.